Good afternoon and welcome back to old San Juan, Puerto Rico. It's been about a month since I was here last. I spent about 3.5 weeks in VAKs, and yeah, now I'm back in San Juan, which was really great. I love San Juan, love old San Juan. It's an awesome place. But today, video's gonna be a little bit different. I want to tell my story of my trip to Culebra, which I took last week with my friend Helene and Rita, who I met here at the hostel I work at here in San Juan. Okay, so I kind of gone through a bit of like a creative block recently. So even like when I was at VA case, I barely filmed anything. And even on my Culebra trip, I filmed a decent amount, but I felt like in order for me to like tell the narrative more properly, like a better narrative of the whole trip to Culebra, I would kind of talk about it a bit and then put in the clips that I did film while I was there. So that's what I'm gonna do. I spent about 2 weeks in VA case. I was working at a hostel there that I worked at last summer, and then I was planning a trip to Culebra with my two friends, and I first took the ferry over to Fajardo. Good afternoon or good evening from VA case, Puerto Rico. I'm actually here in Isabel, which is the town on the north side of the island right now. Anyway, today I'm taking a ferry over to Fajardo. We're going to be staying with a friend tonight, which is where the ferry port used to be. They have since moved the ferry port to Ceiba. At the time, they were still running the Fajardo one. So I went to Fajardo. I stayed at a friend's hostel in Fajardo, which was really awesome. Like, he let me stay there. I had my own like private room for the first night, and it was amazing. Like, when you're living and working in hostels, you don't get to get your own room very often, so that was just so great. Spent a couple of nights in Fajardo, his hostel there. And there's not much to do in Fajardo, but his hostel's a super chill place. You just hang out and like hang out with like cool people and just have like a chilled kind of vibe. Good morning from Fajardo, Puerto Rico. Yeah, so I took the ferry over last night from VAKs, which I got in at like 8 o'clock last night. It was dark, so I didn't like really film anything. See, like, I'm on the rooftop. See El Yunque, mountains of El Yunque behind me. Then you got the kind of Caribbean Sea over that way. I don't know if how well you can see it from here, but got the ocean over there. It's a really beautiful spot. Waiting for my friends Helene and Rita. They're coming down from San Juan this evening. And then we're heading to Culebra tomorrow, which will be a lot of fun. I've never been there before. I ended up meeting up with Helene and Rita in Fajardo at the hostel there. They came down from San Juan, which is where I'm at now. I came from VA case at the time. Hung out for a night at his place, kind of had like a cool chill night with some people, made some dinner for like a bunch of us. We had a whole group of like 8 people and cooked some dinner for all of us and kind of just hung out and enjoyed the night. And then the next day, the 3 of us took the ferry over to Culebra from the new ferry port in Ceiba. Look at that ferry. Look at it. Look at that ferry.
Look at that beauty in her natural habitat.
We're doing it. We're going on the ferry. It's happening. I don't really feel very well today.
He's hungover.
Yeah, I don't really drink and
one too many drinks. I mean one.
I drank one drink last night. I'm not really feeling the greatest today.
Buen dia.
But we are going to Culebra, so that's cool. So we ended up going on the ferry. I think I mentioned like briefly in that clip that I just played for working on the ferry that I wasn't really feeling that well, and I drank a little bit the night before, and I don't drink alcohol really, so I have like no tolerance for it whatsoever. Like, I had like one drink and like I just felt like kind of like shitty the next day, to be honest with you. So yeah, I didn't really feel that great that morning, and then we like took the ferry, and the seas were a little rough that day. And it was like a 45-minute ferry, and I think all 3 of us kind of felt a little bit seasick as well from taking the ferry, a little nauseous, not like horrible, but it wasn't really nice. So that was kind of how like our day started off that day, which wasn't really the greatest, but it did get better. Made it. Wow. I think we all got a little seasick on this ride, honestly. I was not feeling too well, but it looks beautiful, honestly. Like, I've never been here, so looking forward to checking it out. Ended up getting on Culebra, and then we ended up going to the hostel that day and getting all checked in and kind of just chilling out for a bit. We then ended up going to the beach that day. We were walking there to go snorkeling, and I did go snorkeling that day, and I'll get to that here in just a second. So we were walking to this beach, which wasn't too far from the main town in Culebra, but it was really cool because it was probably like a 20-minute walk. But we were walking, and this lady drove by and just like saw we were walking, and just like stopped and picked us up, and you know, we got in the back of her truck, and she, you know, took us to the beach, which was really, really cool for her to do. So that was awesome. And then we got to the beach, did a little bit of exploring. So I was kind of decided to go for a bit of a walk away from the beach here. Kind of see like the main town. How the ferry comes in is right over here. And there's an island behind me, which is really beautiful. I can't actually remember the name of that, so I'll like pop it on the screen. I just got here. I'm sorry, I don't really remember I don't know all the names of things quite yet. So I'll put that on the screen. This is kind of like a wildlife refuge over here. So actually in this like bay over here, not allowed to like, no fishing or anything like that is allowed. You can snorkel, but it's kind of like a protected like coral reef, which is really cool. They kind of do that here, but I guess there's some really good snorkeling over there. I think we'll probably do some snorkeling in a bit, or at some point, either today or tomorrow. I just wanted to come over here and kind of just chill. It's a really beautiful spot up here. You can see Vieques to the south will be down there. And then the main island of Puerto Rico is actually back over here somewhere. It's kind of hard to see on the camera, but it's right over there. So yeah, it's really, really cool. And yeah, I went snorkeling. And I was snorkeling for like 15 minutes. I was kind of struggling with it a little bit because the mask was leaking, and I think because of like my mustache or something, like it wasn't like sealing. So I was kind of like kept struggling, like coughing up water and stuff because it was coming in through my mask, and I was like breathing in. It wasn't really ideal. So I was like swimming back in after snorkeling for like 15 minutes, and I kind of realized that I had my phone in my pocket the entire time. So I no longer have a cell phone, because I was snorkeling in the Caribbean Sea with it for 15 minutes and had no idea. So that wasn't my highest moments, but honestly I wasn't even mad about it for some reason. I kind of just laughed it off and continued on with my day. Ended up spending a few hours on the beach there. I didn't really end up snorkeling that much because, you know, phone in saltwater, ocean, electronics do not like that, obviously. Yeah, so we ended up walking back into the town, walking back to the hostel. Was exhausted, honestly. It was a very tiring day. Especially starting off the earlier part of the day, I didn't feel very well and feeling like nauseous on the ferry ride over, but it ended up being pretty good. But also, you know, breaking my phone as well. So it was still good, but sometimes things like that happen. So it's just, you gotta kind of like roll with it and just kind of be cool with it. That night we ended up kind of going out to the beach at sunset, and that was amazing. I did end up going snorkeling, but I ended up not filming too much because my mask that I was using was all messed up and like that kept flooding with water. Not really sure why. It's something with the mask. This wasn't working that well, so I didn't really get any footage of the GoPro. But the funny thing that happened, I thought it was kind of funny. I was out there for like 15 minutes swimming around, trying to get this mask to work. Eventually I kind of just gave up, and I was swimming back to the shore, and I felt like a weight in the pocket of my, you know, pants, my shorts, and I realized that I had my phone in my pocket the entire time. So yeah, my phone swam in the Caribbean Sea for 15 minutes and I didn't even know it. So I don't know, like I rinsed it off with like fresh water and dried it out. I'm just gonna leave it out overnight, but I'm pretty sure it's dead. So that's gonna be the second phone I've lost in the Caribbean Sea, and I'm just over a year. So cool stuff. Anyway, just watching the sunset here by the water, and it's really, really beautiful. That was the first day of our trip to Culebra. Day 2, we get up in the morning pretty early. We wanted to get like an early start to the day. We wanted to run a golf cart and kind of like drive on the island a little bit, which is what we ended up doing. First thing with the golf cart, we ended up driving to a beach called Flamenco Beach. I made it to Flamenco Beach here on Culebra. We ended up running a golf cart today, and now kind of exploring a bit. There's like this old tank here. Probably due to the fact that Culebra used to be used by the U.S. Navy to do like bombing runs and all kinds of testing and whatnot. So there's stuff like that left over on the island, which is kind of cool. But Culebra is absolutely stunning. Like, it's so beautiful here. I can't Just can't believe it. Like, look at these mountains behind me. The water is so blue. It is absolutely stunning. Normally Flamenco Beach is very crowded, but it's slow season and there was honestly barely anyone there, and it was incredibly beautiful. Yeah, I had an amazing time. Yeah, we kind of just ended up like walking on the beach and just taking some photos with my camera, which was a lot of fun, and just swimming in the amazingly blue and clear Caribbean Sea in Culebra. It was really awesome. So we ended up getting some lunch at Flamenco Beach. They have a bunch of like kioscos there where you can kind of like buy food and drinks and all kinds of cool stuff like that. The next day we got up really early, returned the golf cart, and took the ferry back over to the main island at like 7:15 in the morning. All right, we are on the ferry. This thing is freaking awesome. Like, we're on the upper deck. It is so cool. But yeah, we're taking the ferry back to Ceiba. And yeah, Culebra has been really cool. It's really, really beautiful here. I really enjoyed my time here. We're on the ferry, and we're on top of it, which is really cool. Did you say Culebra behind us? I don't know if you can see Culebra. There it is. I wish I would have maybe filmed a little bit more from the trip so I could have done like more of a proper vlog, but this was kind of fun to do something a bit differently where I kind of, you know, created the narrative afterwards and then kind of put the clips into it to make it all make sense. So maybe I'll try something like this in the future more often, because it was kind of fun to kind of change up my video making formula for once. So maybe it put me out of my comfort zone a little bit, which was really great to do. That Culebra trip was kind of chaotic, and it was very fast and a lot of things happened, but it was a lot of fun, and I'm glad that I kind of was still able to share this story even though I didn't properly film most of it. Leaving you guys here in Old San Juan, Puerto Rico. I will be having more videos from here in Puerto Rico before I leave. I'll talk more about that in a future video, what my future plans are, but I will be here for the next few weeks. So thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.